Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. I have my husband here today.
Hello.
And we have two microphones, so hopefully the audio is a little bit better than it was last time.
And they're really good microphones.
Well, that one is at least.
Mine is. I spent like $300 on that microphone.
Okay. Well, you spent more than I spent on mine.
Goddamn right I did.
So we are going to cover today Seeking Brother Husband episodes 4 and 5. Funny.
So strap in.
Strap in. A lot of people are underwhelmed by Seeking Brother Husband.
Well, there's only
I think they overpromised and underdelivered.
No, I think they delivered what they promised. Exactly. It's a show that is about seeking brother husbands, and it's just not that interesting because I don't know, people like to see misogynists being misogynists. They don't necessarily like to see girl bosses being girl bosses.
It's what's the point? What's the point?
It's a power dynamic that nobody really cares about. It's like good for you. Enjoy. Yeah. Enjoy your second husband or your third.
Yeah. My first note is TLC must have had the same thoughts as most viewers. Yeah, this isn't really what we thought it was going to be because episode 6 is the finale tomorrow.
Any plans for renewal?
I mean, Kenya and Carl would definitely sign up again to be on the show.
Well, they were already, because I just watched that creepy sex show. What's the one that was weird?
Extreme Love. Sex? Okay, so Seeking Brother Husbands, episodes 4 and 5. It's 4 family units, thruples, sometimes just couples. It's 4 families are the cast of characters. So we've met everyone, and now we're about to say goodbye to everybody.
Hi.
Should we start with Elisa and Mike?
Yeah, I would watch all day. That would be the show. I would watch them as themselves in perpetuity throughout the universe as a show on its own.
I think we're likely to see Mike on a Dateline in the not too distant future.
Like, I'm just gonna skip
or Snapped. Yeah. So in episode 4, Mike says we're cleaning the apartment because his mom's gonna come in.
I noticed when he uses the word "we,"
it's only him.
It does not generally pertain to. It's the royal we, perhaps.
And then Elisa is standing over him. I think he's like folding laundry or something. And she's like, you need to make it clear that this is something you want.
It's like she's hypnotizing. Not hypnotizing. What is she's indoctrinating him with her own ideology.
She's railroading him.
You need to tell people that it's your idea, even though it's not your idea. It's my idea. And I'm likely going to just move on with whomever it is that I end up with in this process.
I mean, so she says that Mike was the one who brought this up. And to me, I think what happened is Mike found out that she cheated on him and she was super unapologetic. You know, usually
I only cheated because
when someone cheats on another, there's usually like an apology or they feel really bad. I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
But I think Elisa was super unapologetic. So he was like, well, I don't want to break up with her and she's gonna do this again.
From just seeing her for 6-ish episodes and seeing her relationship with her parents, she seems like the kind of person who hasn't taken accountability for her own actions in likely her entire life. Mm-hmm. Starting with childhood where her mom probably just let her do whatever she wanted. That very uncomfortable Malibu Wines thing, her parents said nothing. Not a word the entire time.
Well, I think that mom and dad showed up ready for Mike's mom to eviscerate her. And
eviscerate she did.
Well, yeah. So but not as bad as I thought. It was not as bad as I thought.
Well, with those things,
because Mike's mom has like time and place decorum, I guess.
She's not crazy because she's not on the TV show. She didn't sign up to be on a TV show. And she knows that whatever she does is going to be broadcast and talked about by people like us. So she has to sit there being like biting her tongue. I'm sure behind the scenes, she is just like, divorce this woman and get your assets in order.
So these are some of the things that Mike's mom said at the wine tasting. She asked, if she hadn't cheated on you, would you have chosen this lifestyle? He tells his mom, this is who I want to be. Super unconvincingly. Mom, come on, Mom.
This is the lifestyle I've chosen.
Just trying to be cool, Mom. He also says he chose this path because he didn't want to lose Elisa. We know, dude. We know. And Elisa says she didn't know about this lifestyle. So she was just down with habitually cheating.
Roar on that one.
No, I could buy that she didn't.
This festival dweller did not know. She's a festival dweller. And she did not know about, so, like, I'm sure she at least was familiar with the polygamy. I mean, actually, to be fair, I never heard of polyandry, but I knew brother husbands were a thing.
I knew that non-monogamy was a thing, but I think that she just was down to cheat on Mike.
I feel like, again,
and was super stoked she got away with it.
Well, yeah, that was just like the kid's like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And now I'm going to go and cheat a bunch more times.
As with her track record in her childhood, 0 consequences for her actions. But he says that he feels like this is the happiest he's ever been.
Though I haven't seen him crack a smile for 5 episodes.
If the happiest you've ever been means being perpetually on the verge of tears, because that's the vibe I'm getting from Mike.
Like, even in Seeking Sister Wife,
Danielle held it together.
Like, Danielle, my poor sweetie, and now she's masterminding things. Right?
Oh yeah,
there's a whole coin flip on that.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, she's whatever, and that's what they want. But what I'm saying is that they some of these people seem like they're just into this to try and just maybe either save a spark. And I'm saying this purely on speculation because I know nothing of there are people out there practicing this and I'm not right. That's fine. But from my personal point of view, there's always a reason people get into these kind of things. I feel like if you started off being normally monogamous and then you branch out to be like, and with Garrick, it was God called me to have a bunch more wives, and other people are just, this is how they were. But with Mike, I feel like he's just trying to hold on to what little to control what little part of his life is not just violently spinning out of control. Because I feel like at work, I don't know what he does. He's like he makes a good amount of money.
Someone told me he's an engineer.
Yeah, it's and engineers. Everything is very like, if then I do this, this happens. Yes, no. It's very input based, and his wife is chaos in a bottle. Just chaos.
Mike's mom is very concerned. And Mike ultimately admits this wouldn't be happening if Elisa didn't cheat on him. And, to the whole kids conversation of it all, I think is just a larger indicator of their relationship. Mike is like, yeah, we don't want kids now. And Elisa's like, no, we never want kids. Ultimately, Elisa, if you don't want to have kids, don't have kids.
I don't think she should have kids. I think Mike deserves to. I think Mike clearly wants to have kids. Because even after she... kids aren't 100% off the table. Yeah, they are, basically, was the response she got. Then throughout the episode, he's like, yeah, I know we said we're not going to have kids right now, but maybe it's like, bro, you're holding out hope. You're holding out hope. And then
my question is, Mike, are you really listening to her? Because there was no gray area there for Elisa. I did not get the vibe that she would one day change her mind.
It was uncomfortable because it basically turned to I think I might want to someday maybe we will have kids, and then she slapped him down and he goes, oh, I guess I was wrong about my thoughts and feelings.
But it's like, Mike, if you want to have kids, with someone who also wants to have kids.
I was like, he needs
but
to,
are
he needs to
you
find, like,
listening to your wife when she speaks? Because that was very clear.
Well, there's no guilt-free party in any of this. Like,
Yeah.
he's still participating in this. And apparently, to his own words, he is an active participant. In fact, he's the one who pushed the lifestyle. So even though from my just purely watching the show that it seems like it's just happening to him and he's just rolling with the punches, that's not what he says. And we can only go by what he says. So he's all about this lifestyle. All about it.
Well, maybe he'll dip his toe into polyandry as well. And
she would divorce him in a hot second. Take the 50-50 and cash out. I guarantee it. She's not the kind of person, I don't think, that she could handle him going to other people. Because she's got the power in the relationship. So she's like, oh, I know I can get away with anything. And as long as I keep Mike in check, the status will always be quoed. My thoughts.
Let's move on to Kenya, Carl, and Tiger. And we can just sum them up. Kenya and Carl are super happy, super comfortable. They're old pros in this lifestyle. They're just going to carry on business as usual. What we get is a scene where, and I was listening to the 90 Day Cray Cray podcast that I listened to, and they covered this show last week. And I think Kyle had a really good observation that this show is just mostly filler. Like, there's not a lot of compelling drama. Like, we see them go shopping for sheets.
Right. There's nothing happening. Well, and it does seem like there's a lot of forced. Like her
she's high energy.
I feel like she's profiting off of this because
they're getting paid.
Well, no, but they have their own little code. So everything that she gets is exposure, and she wants it to seem like it is all sunshine and roses for the polyandrous and I guess polyamorous because her husband also right? Isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we don't hear about that on the show. But
no, but from the other
if you go and watch that episode of Extreme Love, Carl was actually the one who wanted to explore other partners first, and then
you wouldn't know
they kind of embraced the lifestyle together and really ran with it and capitalized.
He was cool during the sheath buying though, because he was sticking up for his brother husband.
Carl's
like number one.
Dude. Yeah, dude's dude for sure. He's advocating for Tiger.
It's perfectly no. Well, Tiger's just being so and he's like, well, he just feels like he's being pushed out of a relationship, which is what I said from the beginning. And he wants to do the ceremony, and you're basically saying that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I won't do the ceremony. And if that's all Tiger needs to feel safe, do the goddamn ceremony and just be done with it. It's not that hard. But it took her primary husband, first husband, and she literally was like, I never thought about it that way. And it's like, well, you didn't think about it at all from what it sounds like. You're just moving on to the next one.
Yeah. I think this is the first time that we're seeing someone get proposed to and broken up with in the same scene. Because, hey, Tiger, will you marry me? But you're still moving out of my bedroom.
It's like, I'd like to invite you to move out.
Yeah.
I'm going to marry. Here's your token ceremony. Yeah. And then you're out.
Yeah. But at least Tiger's getting the ceremony.
At least he's getting
after 10 years, the guy deserves that much.
Just wants. Like Carl just wants to sit, play his video games, hang out, have a good time.
Carl's gonna marry them.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, who else would?
I think that's cute.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Again, they're fine.
They're old. Yeah, they're fine. They're gonna be fine. We don't have to worry about them.
The only drama is that she just doesn't seem to have any feelings for Tiger in that way anymore, and he's caught up in his feelings. That's it. And it's like, okay, well, as you would when you're literally being benched for the new star player. So
yeah, he got put on the injured list, and he's like, no, I'm fine.
Like,
I'm fine.
I'm still here, but it's like, oh no, honey, you're not. You're not.
So Kim, Dustin, and Vincent. Kim goes on a roller skating date in episode 4. Things are not going well with Vincent. He is super uncomfortable with the idea of her taking on more partners.
Well, this also falls into
Still.
to the reality show trope. And I worked for The Bachelor for a number of years, and they come up, these people don't organically decide they want to go on a roller skating date. The show goes, oh, you know what'd be fun is if we took you on a roller skating date and we filmed it, and that would be interesting for people to watch. Because most people's dates are not interesting to watch. They aren't. It's going out to dinner, it's talking, and blah, blah. Not a lot of people think of that as a first date, and it's always frustrating because it's like, oh, look, they have fun, they go roller skating, but it's the producers 99% of the time, and it's like no one does these things.
Well,
but,
and it's like two middle-aged people going roller skating.
And it feels like that episode of The Office where Andy ended up at the roller rink and he was the only one there.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, because this is not something that you would do, nor have you talked about it. But yeah, it's just one of those reality show things that's always fun. Because you see it in everything, just manufactured dates and stuff like that when people are on them.
One of the big plot points or dramatic parts of Kim's storyline is that her parents are not accepting of this lifestyle, and it's put a huge strain on their relationship. Kim is in contact with her brother. Her brother comes out.
Her brother's ride or die, though. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Her brother comes out to visit, builds his own picnic table so he can enjoy the barbecue outside.
You probably could have thought about that. What's funny is she has her husband. He's cooking while her brother's helping her assemble this picnic table.
Can't you just buy a picnic table?
Believe it or not, if you order one online, they're going to show up like that. It's not going to show up.
But you probably could have assembled it like prior to your barbecue.
They probably could have had the PAs assemble it.
But again, is this filler for the show? Like, we need you guys to, like, this show is so boring. We need you to assemble this picnic table.
Well, it's just... It is the same everyday life. Even if people are doing something that would be considered against the grain or extreme.
Maybe that's why they talked about soup so much.
Probably like, oh my God, soup. Like,
maybe they don't even really like soup.
Just talk about soup. Just talk about soup. But it's this kind of stuff that, like, you know, anyone who watches these any of these shows, if you grounded them in actual reality, it's not interesting. Watching people go on dates, even to regular places, is not interesting. But and certainly watching people build a picnic table is not interesting unless you're trying to discuss your new lifestyle or your new husband's.
Yeah, I was just like, this seems like something that should have been thought about beforehand. But again, like with Carl and Kenya, Kim and Dustin, at least, are going to be fine because they're super into the lifestyle. They both don't have a problem with it. The only thing is Vincent, and the sad part of this, which I think we should be grateful that they didn't really showcase the kids too much on this show, but we know that Vincent has kids around their kids' age, and that there is a relationship there. And what's going to happen if Vincent and Kim can't figure things out? That will be the biggest
but you know what?
Bummer of the whole situation.
I'll throw that in the same category as, it's cool you're hanging out with these people for a really long time, but it's the same as changing schools, like, if you're not related to them, they could be your brothers or your friends or whatever. It's not,
and you can still stay friends.
You can still, and you got the internet. People, I'm friends with my friend who's 3,000 miles away from me. I talk to him almost every day.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's not hard to do. Nowadays, it's almost impossible to not talk to people.
Yeah. So
that doesn't strike me. It's like, oh, well, the kids are going to be a little sad for a few minutes until they realize that they're probably sitting on their phones next to each other anyways, and they'll just be on Facebook. So they can do the same thing miles apart.
Well, I really sandwiched these with how, like, the drama couples with the couples that are, we don't have to worry about Kim, Dustin, Vincent. We don't have to worry about Carl, Kenya, and Tiger. They're going to be fine. Shara, Patrick, and Noble. Shara has been going on a couple dates. She met this guy, Valentino, who did not run for the hills when she said, put a baby in me, like,
right away.
Immediately on the first date. Yeah. I mean, at least Kim took some guy roller skating. Shara's like, I need to have a baby.
No, but they went to a waterfall.
Yeah, so they head off into the woods, as you do. But at first I was alarmed. I was like, oh, they just like parked on the side of the road, and now they're just like jetting off into the woods. But then it's this beautiful waterfall. So I was like, oh, hey.
Still the woods. Still in the woods.
Yeah, but, Valentino says everyone has baggage. And this is just, Shara's baggage is just a whole ass marriage.
Okay, well, let me counter that with a statement. Yes, and everyone does have baggage, but I would much rather help you tote a carry-on than
a baby.
than like an entire trunk full of clothes. If we're gonna live in that, let me grab the carry-on, the trunk, not so much. Yes, everybody does have baggage.
Yeah. I'm willing to go personal item.
I don't understand. She doesn't. This is what I was telling Sarah earlier. Was I don't feel like she is really a seeking brother husband kind of person. I feel like her husband wants nothing to do with her.
I think Patrick's an a-hole.
She still wants to be with him for one reason or another, and that's their own thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, go out, get yours, but come home to me. And like, because even with the baby thing, first he's like, well, I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to give it to you. It's like, well, it's going to be living in your house under your roof. And if you're not actively trying to help with that situation, I don't know how this woman has already put up with this man for so long, but the resentment is going to build. Though she also seems pretty self-sufficient.
I can't believe that there isn't just heaps of... I would have heaps of resentment if I were her.
That's what I'm saying. She was I'm wondering
very severely injured, and this guy has not treated her well.
It's a deep well, but it will runneth over one of these days.
Yeah. So it's time for Shara to break things off with Noble. There's no real point, I guess, to her being with him anymore. Patrick hates him.
I mean, hell, there was no point to the scene. There was really no point to the scene of that, like, hey, we could be friends. Oh, I don't like that. Well.
Noble is not an easy guy to break up with.
She straight up said she's tried to break up with him multiple times.
Not an easy guy.
If you try to break up with someone and fail, I have to put it out there that person's manipulating you. Like, I can talk my way out of a lot of things.
These are two toxic relationships for Shara. Patrick's toxic. Noble's toxic. If he is not taking no for an answer.
Just picture someone talking themselves out of a breakup. Like I could talk myself out of getting fired probably, but I feel like the breakup thing is like it's bound to rear its head again. Like if they didn't want to be with me now, I'm certain in several months it's gonna come up again. But yeah, he was just like, I think you're limiting yourself. He just kept saying that over and over again, and it almost felt to me like a really a bad situation for her. And I feel like she falls in with these people who just don't treat her right. I don't think this guy Noble was treating her right.
Hopefully Valentino treats her right.
Let's hope Valentino's going to treat her right because he's like still lives on the other side of the country or something like that. What is it?
He only flies into Bangor and then he goes, I forget where he's from, but
for the purposes of her having a baby, that's perfectly fine. That's all she wants right now. But yeah, she's like, how are we going to do this? Having a baby is like, well, I feel like Valentino, I don't know anything about this guy, but maybe he will step up at the time. If he enters into the agreement to sire a child, it's kind of shitty to not be a part of its life. But
yeah, they're going to have to reevaluate
She also seems like the kind of person who is just like, I want this baby because I want something that will unconditionally love me because nothing in my life does that right now. So, because it all seems conditional with her brother husband.
I just think this lifestyle really isn't for Shara. I think this was kind of not pushed on her, but Patrick was like, I don't care if you go out and hook up with other guys or seek other relationships because he wasn't interested in being with her.
I don't know why
she seems so torn over breaking up with Noble, and I feel for her.
She said it. She was like, I just don't want anyone to ever be hurting because of me. And that's a trait that people have, but it's like, you can't just placate people and be in a relationship with them if you don't want to be in a relationship with them. Like, you have to have some sort of self-worth, which I feel she's lacking in, and that's sad. That's why, again, I think the baby is her source of unconditional love, because at least until it can talk, all it can do is love you.
Can you tell we have a toddler?
That's a lot of no's. But that's them. I don't know. I feel like she's just... it's all a mess with her.
So I think in episode 6 for Carl, Kenya, and Tiger, they're going to have their commitment ceremony. Elisa is going to yell at Mike about the baby conversation. I don't know what's going to happen with Kim, Dustin, and Vincent.
All I care about is Mike. And,
yeah.
And then playing baseball on the beach.
Well, Shara takes Patrick and Valentino to the fertility or to the doctor to see about
super forced.
Who is gonna father her baby.
But she knows it's gonna be one of them. Well, it's not gonna be the guy who flat out said he's not gonna do it. Like two headstrong people need to get together. It's Patrick and Alicia. They know what they want in their lives.
You know what's so funny is I was gonna say Mike and Shara should get together. All right, so that is Seeking Brother Husband.